Spring is here, sap is flowing, you're gonna wanna get outside. The thing you need to remember is that it's still gonna be a bit damp out and Tinder's gonna be a bit more of a limited resource. It's honestly not as easily as just swiping right. April showers, May flowers. Guys, I said flowers, not flower. Jimmy, does anybody read these production notes? A big part of your challenge is going to be finding a dry tinder source. What you're looking for, being the outside of the bark, is this inner layer called cambium. What you can do is you can take your knife and you can start scraping at it. This will allow the cambium to fluff up into a nice tinder for you to work with. Now that you've scraped down and come up with all this cambium layer, you've got a nice fluffy tinder base to make a bird's nest with, or you can pretty much just leave it and start it as is, but we'll see what happens. Additionally, the bark can now make it for a nice dry base to start your fire on. Something else you can look for in the woods and your surrounding area is pitch or resin coming from trees that have been damaged that are trying to heal themselves. This stuff is extremely flammable. Just to give you guys a little demo. Small nickel size amount as such can be a great contribution to starting your fire. Maybe spread it out a little bit. Spike your resin pile with a tiny bit of fluff from your cambium tinder. Just to help it ignite a bit. As you can see, we got a full burn of the resin going right there. This will greatly aid to any fire. Even after it's burnt out, if there's some left, you can just scrape it onto a stick. What you've created now is pine tar pitch, which is also useful, just the same as unrefined resin for lighting your fire. Something else I like to carry is 5 feet of jute twine. Generally just keep this in my fire kit, which we'll get into in a minute, but with this stuff, you can take it and just unwind its process. Pull the ends apart and then just roll it the opposite way it's been braided. Comes apart fairly easily. You can see it starts to fluff up, just like our inner bark layer. Takes a bit of time to get enough, but if necessary. Thankfully, right now, it's not really worth the effort, given that we've yielded a bunch of this cambium into a nice tinder pile. But you can see similarities. Nice flammable fluff. It's also good to keep some jute twine with you, not only for this purpose, but as a supplemental cordage to your bank line, your paracord, and whatever else you're carrying. You shouldn't really be strapped in the woods for a fuel source anyway. Starting a fire and being out here, you should probably, or have learned by now from watching my videos or other people's videos, you should have a good fire kit with you with some base options for fire starting. I just have mine wrapped up here in some waxed canvas, tightened with a slip knot. So what we have in here bit of fat wood. Check out some of my previous videos and links in the description for more information about this stuff. One of man's greatest inventions, a lighter. I have to assume an entire species pronoun. The spare ferro rod. A little beeswax candle, which is great. You can light up this wick. It gives you an ongoing flame if you're running low on your fuel source, being your lighter. And you can just move it around different parts of your stack to get things lit. Also supplies some light, it's transportable. And here we have a simple two-sized pencil sharpener you can pick up at any dollar store. With the pencil sharpener, you can basically take an appropriate sized stick and you can shave down into some small, thin scrapings of the wood and ultimately getting in towards the drier part of the stick. Lastly, we have something very special inside this tin, but we're not going to get into this tin yet. You'll notice wrapped around the tin is some duct tape, which has so many uses, it's ridiculous. In this case, we're going to explore its use as a fire starter. With a bit of work, this will also start with a ferro rod, but that's not necessary given we have a lighter. So you can see it picks up a flame pretty well. And this is just a very small amount. You can use larger amounts depending on your needs. Getting into my favorite type of fire starter, check the links for a video on how to make these. They've been called GBFs, or Great Balls of Fire, in the past. Definitely not something that I came up with. My dad showed me this years ago. So you basically got cotton balls saturated in petroleum jelly. Pry these apart a little bit. We're not going to use so much because it's not necessary for this little demo. With a lighter, these light up like a whole lot of nothing. That simple. With a ferro rod, you can feel like the god of fire. And while rummaging through the woods, if you come across a stump with these stalagmites sticking out of it, give that a kick. It could very well be fat wood. We've taken it and broken it down a little bit here. You can see the varnishy looking layers in there. To know if you've got good fat wood, you can basically smell this, and if it has a turpentine kind of smell, then you're in business. And what you want to do is take the spine of your knife. This is what's good about having a 90 degree spine, so you don't have to worry about damaging or taking the edge off your knife. You just use that spine and scrape some of that fat wood. You can see it getting a little redder as we go. As you're scraping, you're going to notice that pine smell increase because you're heating up the resin in the fat wood with friction from your knife. You want a fairly decent little pile of it. If you get hung up on the edge of your spine, you can just take the knife blade part. You can cut some little curls of the fat wood off. These will light almost just as well as the shavings. It's good to just shave off some of your ferro rod into a powder and mix it in with the fat wood shavings. And finally, take your fluff, your cambium, fluff it up a little bit, drop that in the center, right on your base plate. And some of the cambium is also going to come off in shreds. This is fine as well. If you're wondering what the strange fire lay is all about, click the linked video at the end of this one, or just take the shredded and just sort of spread it out around your fluffed cambium. Ferro rod, BPS knife in this case. Wind up, and you're going to drag your ferro rod back and knock the knife forward and send a shower of sparks. Just like that. And then apply your smaller fuel. Give that a minute for it to catch. And you've got your essential fire started with your spring tinder options.
They don't like us. They don't like us. They ain't gotta like us.
I mean, really, though. I said flowers, guys, not flour. Where's my f***ing trailer? Full showers, Mayflower. Safety third, time permitting. Yeah. Oh, this shit was the weird.
That looks like that looks potential. Like that's actually whiter. I can see the more yellow in this.
Where's my trailer?